You're watching DX Recap Shorts, the place where we break down movies fast, clear, and spoiler-packed. Whether you missed it, forgot it, or just want a quick refresh, we've got you covered. Let's get into the story. In the near future, the world has collapsed. Deadly pandemics, extreme climate change, severe water shortages, and the complete failure of power grids have turned civilization into a brutal wasteland. Across the ruins of Australia, survival is nearly impossible. Yet hidden among the chaos lies a rare paradise known as the Green Place of Many Mothers. A secret community filled with life, food, and clean water one day. A young girl named Furiosa is picking peaches with her friend near the Green Place. Everything seems peaceful until they hear an unfamiliar noise in the distance. Despite her friend's warnings, Furiosa decides to investigate. As she sneaks through the wilderness, she discovers a group of motorcycle marauders resting nearby. Realizing they could threaten her home, she quietly cuts the fuel line of one of their bikes. But when she attempts to sabotage a second motorcycle, she's suddenly caught by a biker named ToeJam without hesitation. Furiosa stabs him in both legs and makes a desperate run for safety while blowing a whistle to warn her people. Unfortunately, she doesn't get far. The marauders quickly catch up and use a whip to drag her off, kidnapping her before she can escape. Back at the Green Place, Furiosa's mother, Mary, immediately gathers several warriors and begins pursuing the kidnappers on horseback. During the chase, they take down one biker. Mary finishes him off with her blade and steals his motorcycle. Before continuing the rescue mission, the leader of the Green Place supplies Mary with extra ammunition and reminds her of a critical rule. Anyone who learns the location of their sanctuary must never be allowed to leave alive. Determined to save her daughter, Mary races after the gang. Soon, she kills another biker with an incredibly accurate long-range shot. The remaining riders stop to assess the situation, confused by the attacks. While they're distracted, Furiosa secretly damages another motorcycle by biting through its fuel line. As Mary closes in, the bikers flee once again. Taking advantage of the moment, Mary transfers fuel from the stolen motorcycle to the damaged one, ensuring she can continue the pursuit. The chase stretches deep into the night. Eventually, one of the motorcycles runs out of gas. As the kidnappers argue about what to do next, Furiosa quietly cuts the ropes, binding her wrists, and makes a run for freedom. For a brief moment, looks like she might escape, but one of the bikers spots her and quickly captures her again. The following morning, Mary realizes they've reached the marauders' main camp. She manages to shoot down yet another rider, leaving only ToeJam guarding Furiosa. Proudly, ToeJam tells his fellow gang members that he's discovered a place overflowing with resources and abundance. As he attempts to bring Furiosa before his leader, she makes a bold move. She throws herself off the bike and jams ToeJam's own weapon into the wheel, causing a violent crash. Both Furiosa and the badly injured ToeJam are dragged before the gang's leader, a powerful warlord named Dementis. When Dementis questions ToeJam about the mysterious place he found, the wounded biker dies before giving any useful answers. Furious, Furiosa tries to attack Dementis, forcing several men to hold her back. Since she refuses to reveal where she's from, Dementis chooses a different strategy. Instead of hurting her, he decides to keep her close and treat her well, hoping manipulation and kindness will eventually earn her trust. Meanwhile, outside the camp, Mary survives a massive sandstorm and recovers armor from a dead biker. Disguised as one of the gang members, she infiltrates the camp. One by one, she silently eliminates anyone standing in her way until she finally reaches Furiosa's tent. Inside, she kills another guard but spares a woman who is cleaning Furiosa. The woman claims she's also a victim and a mother. Believing her, Mary lets her live. It turns out to be a terrible mistake. The moment Mary and Furiosa leave, the woman raises the alarm. Gunfire erupts throughout the camp. One shot strikes Mary and sets her back ablaze. She desperately tears off her burning clothes before escaping with Furiosa on a motorcycle. For a brief moment, it seems they might get away. But Mary can hear Dementis and his riders closing in behind them. Knowing she won't survive, Mary makes a heartbreaking decision. She gives Furiosa a peach seed and tells her to return home without her. One day, she says, Furiosa must plant it. Then Mary turns to face the pursuing gang alone. She manages to shoot down one rider, but the overwhelming numbers quickly surround and overpower her. Hearing the chaos behind her, Furiosa can't abandon her mother. She turns back. What she discovers is horrifying. The gang has captured Mary and suspended her on a crucifix-like structure. They torture her and repeatedly demand to know where she came from. Mary refuses. No matter how much pain they inflict, she refuses to betray her people. Then, in one of the film's most devastating moments, Dementus forces Furiosa to watch as his men slowly kill her mother. As Mary dies, Dementus cruelly tastes the tears running down Furiosa's face. Sometime later, Furiosa is kept imprisoned in a cage. Dementus forces her to watch the brutal entertainment enjoyed by his followers. The riders viciously battle one another for the chance to participate in a ritual. The chosen warriors then mount motorcycles attached to chains that literally tear a man apart. Trying to connect with her, Dementus gives Furiosa a teddy bear that once belonged to his own daughters. Furiosa silently throws it away. She refuses to give him any part of herself. The next day, as the gang continues traveling across the wasteland, a man known as the History Man offers to teach Furiosa how to read and write. He explains that knowledge could make her valuable to Dementus. Furiosa ignores him completely. By now, she has chosen silence as her form of resistance. One night, she discovers ink among the supplies in her cage. Using it, she tattoos a star map onto her arm, a permanent guide that will help her remember the way back home. Days later, Dementus' gang notices a massive plume of red smoke rising in the distance. Curious, they investigate. At the source, they discover a dying warboy, a fanatical soldier who serves the legendary Immortan Joe. When Dementus asks about a place filled with abundance, the warboy assumes he's referring to the Citadel and agrees to take them there. Eventually, they arrive at the Citadel. The moment the massive fortress comes into view, all of its slaves scramble into hiding. Dementus boldly demands to meet the ruler, threatening violence if nobody cooperates while simultaneously promising freedom and wealth. Moments later, the feared leader, Immortan Joe, appears. One of Joe's assistants instructs Dementus to select a warboy to continue negotiations. A young warboy is chosen. Without hesitation, he paints his teeth, declares his loyalty, and leaps from a bridge. Sliding down cables toward the attackers, he crashes into the ground and detonates in a fiery explosion. Joe's assistant calmly explains that every warboy is willing, eager even, to die for Immortan Joe. As negotiations end, the Citadel launches a sudden attack. Warboys swarm Dementus forces, chaos erupts. Many of Dementus' men are killed, several motorcycles are stolen, and chains hanging from above are used as deadly weapons. Amid the confusion, Furiosa's cage is captured as well. The Citadel's slaves open it and attempt to take both Furiosa and the History Man away. At the last possible second, Dementus charges in and rescues them from being taken. With heavy losses and no chance of victory, Dementus and his surviving followers are forced to retreat into the wasteland. But for Furiosa, this is only the beginning of a much larger journey, one driven by survival, revenge, and the hope of one day finding her way home. Sometime later, Dementus and his massive biker army arrive at Gastown, one of the wasteland's most important strongholds. But instead of launching a direct attack, Dementus comes up with a ruthless plan. He waits until one of Gastown's fuel convoys leaves the fortress and ambushes it on the open road. The guards are slaughtered within minutes. Next, several of his bikers disguise themselves as warboys and drive the captured convoy back toward Gastown. Meanwhile, Dementus and the rest of his forces follow behind, pretending to be attackers chasing them. At first, the gatekeepers aren't convinced. Something feels wrong. When they refuse to open the gates, Dementus takes things to another level. To make the attack look convincing, he starts killing his own disguised men. The desperate screams and gunfire finally convince the guards. The gates begin to open. Although the bikers aren't allowed inside, they were never meant to be. Hidden inside the convoy trucks are more of Dementus' men. The moment the gates open, they burst out of hiding, surround the gatekeepers, and force them to fully unlock the entrance. Seconds later, Dementus storms into Gastown with his warriors and successfully seizes control of the entire fortress. Not long afterward, the severed finger of Gastown's former ruler is delivered to Immortan Joe as an invitation to negotiate. A meeting is arranged. When the leaders finally meet, Dementus arrives with Gastown's captured ruler. The poor man is being tortured by a device painfully attached to his nipples. Desperate, he begs his brother Immortan Joe to save him. But before anything can be resolved, Joe's sons launch an attack. In retaliation, Dementus kills the prisoner on the spot. The brutal act tears away the man's nipples in the process. Then Dementus reveals the real reason for the meeting. According to him, explosives have been hidden all across Gastown. Only he knows how to activate or disable them. If Joe refuses his demands, the entire fortress will be destroyed. Dementis demands to be officially recognized as the ruler of Gastown. However, something else catches Immortan Joe's attention. Furiosa, trying to maintain control of the situation, Dementis claims she's his daughter. Furiosa immediately exposes the lie. She tells Joe that Dementis murdered her mother. After considering his options, Joe accepts a deal. Dementis can keep Gastown. In exchange, Furiosa and one of Dementis' bikers belong to him. Dementis hates the arrangement but has no choice. Before leaving, he takes back the teddy bear he once gave Furiosa and rides away. Soon afterward, Immortan Joe announces that Furiosa will become one of his wives. She's taken to live inside his harem. Unlike Joe, the other wives treat her kindly, but every day, Furiosa is forced to watch Joe claim the women as his property. One day, one of the wives gives birth. Unfortunately for her, the baby is a girl. Joe openly calls her a disappointment because all he wants are healthy sons. At the same time, one of Joe's sons constantly touches Furiosa's hair, making her increasingly uncomfortable. Privately, Furiosa reveals that she still carries the peach seed her mother gave her years ago. It's the last piece of home she has left. Knowing she needs to escape, she secretly cuts off her hair and creates a fake wig using a net and melted candle wax. Eventually, Joe's son takes her to his private room. His intentions are obvious, but the moment he grabs her hair, the wig comes loose. Before he realizes what's happening, Furiosa breaks free and runs. She leaps from a platform and hides beneath a bridge. The son searches desperately for her. However, his brother spots him. Not wanting questions from Immortan Joe, the brother throws away the wig and convinces him to leave. Furiosa remains hidden and survives. Sometime later, she disguises herself as a young boy. Remaining silent at all times, she blends into the Citadel's workforce. Thanks to her incredible agility and climbing skills, she eventually earns a place among the mechanics, responsible for operating the giant chain systems that recover old vehicles. Years pass, 15 years to be exact. Throughout all that time, Furiosa remains undiscovered by pretending to be mute and faithfully participating in Joe's rituals. One day, the mechanics are ordered to build an enormous new war rig. The vehicle includes a gigantic drilling weapon known as the Balmy Knocker. Its driver will be Praetorian Jack, the Citadel's most successful road warrior. After months of work, the war rig finally begins its first journey. But disaster strikes almost immediately. Former members of Dementis gang, now operating as a rogue faction, launch a surprise attack. Using parachutes attached to motorcycles, they descend from the sky and assault the convoy from above. The battle becomes absolute chaos. War boys are killed one after another. Some even willingly throw themselves off the rig to protect it. Meanwhile, Jack keeps driving forward without hesitation, crushing enemies beneath the massive vehicle. Furiosa rides with the convoy and eventually ends up beneath the war rig itself, narrowly surviving an enemy bomb blast. When a mechanic is killed, she grabs his tools and begins repairing the damage herself. The attackers aren't done. They place dynamite beneath the rig, but Furiosa kicks the biker away and disables the explosives just in time. Soon, enemy riders begin climbing onto the vehicle. Thankfully, Furiosa completes the repairs, allowing Jack to increase speed and shake several attackers loose. The remaining war boys finish off many of the survivors, but the casualties continue mounting. War boys die one after another, sacrificing themselves in hopes of reaching Valhalla. Then, an exploding truck crashes into the front of the rig. The impact knocks Furiosa's hat away. For the first time, Jack sees who she really is. A woman. Before either of them can react, more attackers close in. Jack and Furiosa begin fighting side by side. She uses a mechanical arm to kill one biker flying on a kite. Then she shoots an arrow into another attacker's leg. Finally, she orders the last surviving war boy to activate the Balmy Knocker. As Furiosa takes cover, the giant drill pulls in the final airborne enemy and shreds him apart. But before dying, the attacker fires one last shot. The bullet kills the final war boy. The battle is over. Afterward, Furiosa points a gun at Jack and demands he stop the rig. Instead, Jack throws her off and drives away. At first, it seems like a betrayal, but minutes later, he returns on foot. He explains that he has lost everything. Then he offers Furiosa a fresh start. He doesn't care that she's a woman. He only sees a skilled warrior. When he promises to teach her everything he knows about surviving the Wasteland, Furiosa finally agrees. From that day forward, the two become partners. Furiosa serves as Jack's right hand, accompanying him on countless missions across the wasteland. Eventually, they arrive at Gastown for a fuel run. The fortress has fallen into chaos. Resources are running out. Citizens are angry, and Dementis has proven to be a terrible ruler. Although Dementis notices Furiosa, he doesn't recognize her after all these years. He requests a meeting with the other warlords and asks Jack to deliver the message to Immortan Joe before they can leave. However, the starving citizens erupt into a violent riot. Jack and Furiosa barely escape. With Furiosa driving and Jack firing at attackers, they race toward the gates. They make it through just in time, but Furiosa's shoulder has been stabbed during the chaos. Back at the Citadel, Jack carefully treats her wound. His gentleness reveals how much their bond has grown. The message is delivered to Immortan Joe. Joe's sons and advisors argue over what should be done. Finally, Joe orders Jack to travel to Bullet Farm and collect every weapon available. Later that night, Jack stitches Furiosa's shoulder. While talking, he reveals how his parents died. In return, Furiosa tells him about her tattooed map and her dream of finding the green place again. She even shows him her mother's peach seed and asks him to come with her. Jack doesn't refuse. The following day, they leave for Bullet Farm. This time, Jack places Furiosa in command of one of the escort vehicles. When they arrive, they discover something horrifying. Dementis has already attacked. The fortress is under siege. Jack immediately signals Furiosa. She reverses through the gate while the attack begins. Another truck is destroyed. The war rig becomes trapped. Gunfire erupts everywhere. Jack holds off the attackers, while Furiosa kills a gatekeeper and provides covering fire through the gate. Spotting her, Jack rams the rig into the entrance and breaks free. Furiosa waits with the truck, expecting him to join her. Instead, Jack launches a green smoke flare. He's calling for reinforcements. Then he drives directly back into battle. Determined to buy everyone else time, Furiosa tries to leave, but she can't abandon him. Turning back, she sneaks into the battlefield and begins sniping enemies from a distance. Dementis avoids her bullets. She kills several of his men. One final shot even grazes his skin. Meanwhile, Jack drives the war rig through the fortress, smashing structures and crushing enemies. For a moment, it seems victory is possible. Then disaster strikes. A tower collapses onto the war rig. The vehicle falls into a massive pit. Jack barely manages to escape. Furiosa races in on a motorcycle and saves him using a hook just before the rig disappears. Together, they flee. Their plan is simple. Follow Furiosa's map and finally find home. But Dementis survives. Rescued by an excavator crew, he immediately orders pursuit. The gates are smashed open by a monster truck, and the chase begins. The enemy catches up quickly. During the firefight, Furiosa's tattooed arm is crushed between two vehicles. Moments later, the monster truck slams into their car and sends it crashing. This time, they don't escape. Jack and Furiosa are captured. Dementis makes sure their punishment is unforgettable. Jack is tied behind a motorcycle and dragged through the wasteland. Hour after hour, he is tortured to death. Furiosa is suspended from a truck by her wounded arm and forced to watch. For hours, Dementis sits comfortably atop his vehicle, enjoying the spectacle while his bikers drive circles around them, creating a giant dust storm. Eventually, he gets bored, but when he checks on Furiosa, she's gone. Using the dust cloud as cover, she escaped by severing her own trapped arm. Enraged, Dementis tries to pursue her. Only then does he realize she attached a chain to his truck's wheel. The moment he drives off, the wheel tears free. Furiosa gains precious time. Unfortunately, her stolen motorcycle eventually runs out of fuel. Exhausted and wounded, she collapses beneath the blazing sun. Luckily, a Citadel patrol finds her and brings her home. A healer covers her wounds with maggots to prevent infection. The moment she recovers, Furiosa demands an audience with Immortan Joe, now calling herself Praetorian Furiosa in honor of Jack. She warns Joe that Dementis is coming with a massive arsenal. In the distance, smoke rises across the horizon. Furiosa reveals Dementis is deliberately burning Gastown to lure Joe away from the Citadel. Joe immediately understands the trap. Instead of falling for it, he devises a counterattack. Furiosa makes one request. When the war is over, she wants Dementis alive soon. Dementis sees a convoy heading toward Gastown and believes his plan is working. But moments later, Joe's forces reverse course. The trap has failed. What follows is a brutal 40-day war across the wasteland. Both armies slaughter one another in increasingly savage battles. During this time, Furiosa builds a mechanical arm to replace the one she lost. She shaves her head, and she prepares for her final mission. Eventually, she asks for a vehicle. Only one remains in the Citadel. It's damaged and missing a wheel. Furiosa takes it anyway. She steals another vehicle from Joe's sons while the history man gives her a legendary title, the fifth rider of the apocalypse. Days later, Dementis travels with only a handful of followers. Suddenly, two riders are shot down. A mysterious car is approaching. Dementis orders his men to split up and set an ambush. But Furiosa anticipated everything. She tears through the bikers, smashing motorcycles and eliminating riders. Eventually, she catches the vehicle she believes carries Dementis. Instead, it's an elderly decoy wearing his cape. She sends him into a deadly pit of quicksand. Then she notices another rider with long hair. Another disguise. Another decoy. Watching carefully, Furiosa realizes every biker is moving toward the fake targets, except one. One rider is quietly leaving the area. That's Dementis. A short time later, Dementis wakes beneath a camouflage tarp and discovers his water bottle has been sliced open. The moment he steps outside, he finds Furiosa waiting. He reaches for his gun. No bullets. He tries running. The car keeps coming. Finally, he drops to his knees and surrenders. Furiosa steps out wearing his cape. She asks if he remembers her. But Dementis barely remembers any of his countless victims. He only recognizes her as Jack's partner. Trying to gain an advantage, he grabs her knife. But it's a trap. The handle breaks apart. The distraction gives Furiosa enough time to knock him unconscious. When Dementis wakes up, he's chained. Furiosa finally tells him who she is. She reminds him of Mary, of the green place, of everything he stole from her. Yet even now, Dementis struggles to remember. To him, she was simply another victim among thousands. Furiosa beats him relentlessly. Still, he keeps talking, keeps justifying himself. Then he suddenly suffers a seizure and collapses. Furiosa retrieves the teddy bear and finally forces him to understand. At last, Dementis realizes who she is. Seeing no other option, he offers an alliance. Together, he says, they could rule the Wasteland. Furiosa refuses. At long last, she gets her revenge. Some stories claim she shot him. Others say she dragged him behind her vehicle just as his men did to Mary. But the truth is far stranger. Furiosa secretly brings Dementis back to the Citadel. Using his body as fertilizer, she plants the peach seed her mother entrusted to her years ago. Over time, the seed grows into a thriving peach tree, a living symbol of Mary's memory. And when the tree finally bears fruit, Furiosa helps Immortan. Joe's wives escape aboard a war rig, the event that ultimately leads directly into the story of Fury Road. And that's a wrap on today's recap. If you enjoyed the ride, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell so you never miss a plot twist. Got a movie you want recapped? Drop it in the comments below. This is DX Recap Shorts. See you in the next one.